Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of That Car Dude's My Team Career Mode here. If you missed the first episode, make sure to go check that out before you watch this one. I was setting up my team and everything. But straight away here, we do have 1,620 resource points to spend, so we are going to go ahead and spend that on a durability upgrade right here for 500. And we might invest in another powertrain for our ignition system here. That'll be 2 to start off before we head to the Australian Grand Prix. So let's go and advance time. Here we are then, and we're going to jump straight into the Australian Grand Prix.
Here we go then for our first flying lap in our brand new That Car GP car. I did do quite a lot in practice actually to get used to the car and used to the steering and everything, but I found that over the course of the full weekend I was struggling a wee bit with understeer. As you may be able to see, the front end was not gripping up at all, and I felt, especially through the very fast chicane, that I just had absolutely no grip and the front end was so loose. But you know, I managed to make do with it for this weekend. I think we're gonna definitely get a front wing upgrade for next weekend, but this first flying lap here I was absolutely on. I'd just done all 3 practice sessions, almost completed 30 minutes on each, so I was absolutely on top, as you can see. And as we come across the line, it will put us up into P3 in our first Grand Prix. Absolutely amazing lap from us. By the time we get onto our second flying lap here, we're down in P11. We're trying to make it better, but as you can see, mistake through the first corner there, cut the corner a bit. It's not helping me here. I'm two tenths down now, trying to push as hard as I can to make up the time that I've lost and try and get an even better lap, even though I think we might have driven too fast. But we're 2 tenths down here, make a wee mistake through that right hand corner, and as we come on through the lap, it's just not getting any easier because we're just pushing so hard. And as you can see, I'm struggling with the understeer so much that when I come through here, I even hit the wall here, even though I'm turning as hard as I can. The understeer is absolutely amazing. And here's a wee example of going through this high speed. I missed that bit, then I get on the curb here, get over, because I've got so much understeer, and I spin out, so we weren't able to put in a faster lap here. But as we come into the pits, the session ends and we qualify in P11, so it's an absolutely amazing qualifying for us. I think we might have out-qualified ourselves here. As you can see, we're 1.1 seconds ahead of Alesi, so I think it might be backwards in the Grand Prix, but let's head into the Australian Grand Prix and see.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
So here I didn't want to be too cocky, too bigging myself up here, so I did improve the chassis morale here by saying that the car feels fantastic on track.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Right here I didn't want to put any department down and lower their morale, so I just said that, you know, I didn't really know what happened.
Great. Well, that's everything.
That was a good interview from Claire there, but you know, let's move on to the Australian Grand Prix.
No more testing, no more practice, this is the real deal, and it's make or break here at Albert Park, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996, and home to round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
It's hard to imagine how a small operation like that could survive in the ruthless world of Formula One, and yet here they are, first ever race looking surprisingly strong. But there are no points for qualifying. Let's see how they fare in the Grand Prix proper.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, and Hamilton, Norris, Sainz, Ocon, and Daniel Ricciardo. A Mercedes, Fiat, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Alesi, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we are then, getting ready for the Australian Grand Prix. Not sure what was happening with my commentator name, they're calling me a Mercedes, but anyway, that's not good. But up in P11, pretty good starting position I feel, and we're going to change our strategy around a wee bit, add a bit of extra fuel, so we have an extra lap of fuel on board for this race. I think we don't want to put too much on because it's quite a short, it's only 15 laps this race, so don't want to mess about too much. And we go here, the 5 red lights for the season opener at the Australian Grand Prix. And the lights are out and away we go. It's a good start from us. We catch up on Ocon and Sainz bogs down very much, so we have to swerve aggressively to the right. And we're going to be up the inside of Sainz and Ocon here, be able to squeeze Sainz out, but Ocon's still on our inside as we make a bit of contact with Hamilton through the second corner. We're still side by side with Ocon all the way down the back straight, try and hold it out in the braking zone. Missed the braking zone a bit, almost clipped Norris there, but we're able to hold the position up into P8 here, so it's an amazing start from us as we're going to now settle down and chase after Norris and try and keep Sainz and Ocon behind. Through this stage I was all trying to manage my new ERS here because I'm not really that familiar with the overtake button, but I was managing over the weekend to kind of sort it out. I quite like using it out the exit of corners. As you can see throughout this race, I will be using it just a wee bit on the exits of corners to get me up to speed as we try and chase after Norris. But you can see already the pace difference is absolutely massive, and Sainz is behind us now, so it's not going to be a good race. We're just going to try and hold them up. As you can see, we're already kind of making a train here. It's only lap 1 of the Australian Grand Prix. You can see here I'm pushing the car right to the edge there, almost on the gravel, but it's kind of much a theme of the whole weekend. You know, with my understeer I was, you know, wanting to push the car all the way, but I was always just ending up in that gravel trap there, so that's going to be a haunting for us in this Grand Prix. As we move on here to the end of lap 2, Sainz is all over the back of the gearbox of me, and I have to go defensive into this corner, but try and hold it out, and we will do so to stay up in P8. But you can see I am pushing so hard right now on my tyres as I go deep again into that gravel trap, struggling for any sort of front downforce, as Norris is getting further and further away from me. But you can see on the exit of corners here, I just used the overtake button for a little bit just to make sure that Sainz doesn't catch up to me on the straights. I thought that was the best strategy to use it, just to help me stay in front of anyone that was coming at me. But I went a wee bit wide through the first and second corner there, so Sainz is going to have a good run on me down the back straight, but we hold it through this time to stay in P8 for the time being, trying just to push on and get away from them. But as we come into the first corner again in lap 4, make another mistake and go wide again, and this time Sainz is going to have an amazing run on me down the back straight, He pulls out to one side of me, I have to go defensive to the inside. I mess my braking zone up a bit, brake a wee bit late, have to push him wide, compromise him a lot, and then Ocon is down his inside, and they've slowed each other a lot, so I managed to get away from them for a wee bit, but that is not good for me, getting absolutely hounded by these two. You can see that Ocon has overtaken Sainz there since I compromised him just so much there, and Ocon's now up into P8 and Sainz has been demoted down to P10 as I've lost track of Norris and Hamilton there. I'm nowhere to be seen for me at the moment as we move on to lap 5, and another mistake at turn 1. I go so wide this time that Ocon from nowhere is going to have an amazing run on me down the back straight. He pulls out to one side, I have to go defensive again, brake a little bit late again, go deep into the corner, but Ocon pulls an amazing switchback on me, a wee bit of contact there, but as we hold it through side by side, great racing from me and Ocon here, going into the right hand, I'm trying to go side by side here, he hits me and I'm off, but then Sainz comes up me and hits me and I'm in the wall, and now it's absolutely disgraceful now as Kvyat spins me round and the virtual safety car has been deployed as I'm trying to scramble back onto my feet and get back to the pits as quickly as possible here. This is an absolute catastrophe for me. The race was looking so promising, but then it just all fell away. Here's a replay of it here, as you can see I go wide and then Sainz just hits me and I'm off in the wall, come back, hit Kvyat, Kvyat's all over the shop, and when I come round I'm so unlucky to get tagged by Kvyat. If I'd been there a second earlier or a second later, I would have got through fine, but as you can see I'm just scrambling now to get back to the pits, as actually I don't think it's Kvyat, I think it's Gasly actually that I've spun out. Just realised that there, but we have to trundle back to the pits, and you can see going very wide there at the exit of that high speed chicane, and to rub salt into the wound almost when I'm coming into the pits, so is a Lacey who has a 5-second time penalty, and so do I, so we're going to come into the pits and we're going to be stuck here for an eternity here as we trundle along in the pit limiter, and Gasly comes in behind us, but he's going to be out way before us as we're sitting here waiting here for a Lacey's pit stop to be finished for what seems like 2 decades here, as Gasly's already fitted and is gone by the point that I get in. But for some reason, when I come in, my pit crew wait extra 3 seconds from the 5-second time penalty, and they're so slow to react to it that I've lost an extra 3 seconds here, and this is absolute calamity for us as a team. This is now we're down in P20 and P21 after it looking so positive from qualifying, but now we're just going to have to get our head down, try and focus now, and just set quick lap times after quick lap times to try and catch up to the rest of the pack. Moving on to the end of that same lap here, lap 6, we're pushing so hard on these medium tyres, using a lot of overtake here, as you may be able to see, and it's just 10 seconds behind Gasly. It's pretty much a lost hope at this point. We've only got 9 laps to go, but as you can see we use so much ERS here that we even lose the ability to use it here, so I think we're going to have to go a bit easier on the overtake button in the future as we move on to lap 8 then, and pushing so hard as you can see, trying to get the fastest lap times, going wide there, going wide again into the gravel trap, a big amount here, trying to fix the oversteer as we come back on the track, and the understeer is kicking back in here on these mediums. I'm not liking these mediums at all. They're a bit cold, they're a bit hard, and I just think that they're not suiting our car at the moment. Onto that lap 11 then, and we're not closing up at all to Gasly, but I do think we've gained a second on Magnussen up in P18, so we are catching up to them in a way, I guess, as there's yellow flags ahead. We get on the curb, a wee bit of tank slapper, but we've managed to fix it. Someone's going very slowly ahead, and I think it's a Lacey. Yes, it's a Lacey going very slow now, and I think he might be out the Grand Prix then, so that's not good for our team then, as a Lacey is out and I'm in P21, so we're going to look for a replay of this as they come through the high speed chicane. He's right behind the Latifi, and I think his engine just goes there. I can't see anything wrong with that other than his engine just giving up on him there, so that's not good for us as we move on to then lap 13 out of 15, and it's Gasly coming up to Latifi, he's going to go round the outside for turn 1, and they're side by side through turn 1. This is great racing here from Latifi and Gasly, but can Gasly get it done with second time of asking DRS on the main straight, and he will get the job done. So that's brilliant racing from Gasly and Latifi then, so that means we're just behind Latifi now and not Gasly. On to the end of lap 14, coming on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, and I believe we've done a sterling job here as Max Verstappen wins the Australian Grand Prix, the season opener. But as you can see, I'm only 5.8 seconds behind Latifi, so we've done an absolutely sterling job of setting in the fast lap times and catching up to the people ahead of us. As we come around the final few corners and the understeer and the tyre wear really is kicking in at this point, I have no grip at all. As you can see, we've driven the car right to the edge this Grand Prix, but it wasn't to be, as we're going to come down the main straight for the final time on lap 15 and take the checkered flag, P21 out of 21 finishers there for our first finish in that car, GP car. But it was such a promising race at the start, but we didn't manage to make the most of it. But I think we did show some good pace here, catching up to Latifi so much at the end, as George Russell gets driver of the day.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
So there we go then, Max Verstappen wins the season over here in Australia, and we come 21st and 22nd. Not a good start in our My Team career mode, but we showed some good pace at the end there, catching up to Latifi, so I think we don't have to be too down here. We had a good pace at the end there, so I think if we just don't make such a horrendous mistake there earlier in the Grand Prix, we could have maybe even scored points there in the first race as my team, as we get the team acclaim here, and our team acclaim here is up to level 2 now, with me gaining 2% and Alessi gaining 8% on his acclaim. And the cash, we're only getting 60,000 this week, as our damage reductions were a lot of money, sadly there. But thank you guys for watching another That Car Dude video, and until next time, see ya.